Tonight on Behind the Details with Chelsea, we are working on this 2003 Lexus convertible for my customer. She routinely brings her vehicle into me about once a year, sometimes twice a year, and normally only takes it through the automatic car wash. She hasn't done a good contact wash in several months, and so we do have a lot of grime that we need to remove. So it looks like today we've got a new brand to review. Which one is it, you might be wondering? Well, only the hottest new brand to the House of Rags. We're taking a closer look at Luminus. It's almost not right that the House of Rags has so many impressive brands. To be honest, I'm running out of space in my cabinets. So if you guys are gonna keep up this pace, you're gonna have to start selling cabinets or some sort of storage option for those of us that maybe are a little bit of a detailer addict. But we're working on a 2003 Lexus SC430. Yeah, it is an older vehicle, but this customer is trying to keep this vehicle until it pretty much dies. So she brings it in yearly for a detail. We do have a lot of rail dust on this pearl paint that we need to remove with a really good decontamination. We're also gonna be bringing some love back to these headlights so that way when she's driving down the road at night, she can see a little bit better. We're gonna be doing an interior detail off camera, but the primary focus in this video is gonna be sharing with you guys how Luminus performs cleaning tires and wheels, maybe even tackling some heavier dirt on this vehicle. We do have a lot of tar, a lot of road grime, and then we're gonna be polishing the paint and then adding some protection. So for those of you that want a closer look at a few of Luminus's products, let's go ahead and get started with the show. The products we're specifically looking at today, they're L pre-wash and S pre-wash, an alkaline and acid soap to go after heavy dirt. We're also going to be looking at their Blaze Direct Wheel and Tire Cleaner to see how this can tackle heavy grime. Also their Vampire Plus Direct, we're going to use this to go after the rail dust. Their Mint Car Shampoo, this is a pH neutral soap. And then for protection, their Black Diamond Advanced Formula. And then we're also going to get the interior glass clean with their Shine Glass Wash. And since you guys are always on my case that I don't wear gloves, here you go. I went ahead and I bought the most glovey gloves that I can imagine. I love you guys. Thanks for always watching out for me. First up, we're gonna be using the Blaze Direct for our wheels and tires. Now this is a combination cleaner. Typically products like this, they're going to excel in one area, but rarely both. We do have two options with the sprayer. You can either have it as a foam or as a fine mist. They recommend spraying it on and then letting it sit for about a minute. And because I have gloves on, I can do this. The browning is literally melting off of the tire.
So they say let that sit about a minute, but don't let it go onto kind of a hot panel. Since we are working in direct sunlight, we might pre-rinse our other wheels just so that way we don't damage them. But these are older wheels, they're kind of in a degraded condition. But you can see when we use it as a foamer, the browning is literally melting off. I kind of like using the foam tip for tires and then taking that off and using kind of our fine mist for the wheels. You're not gonna go through as much product that way. But we're gonna actually kind of do a pressure wash or rinse just to see how much do we remove chemically without even having to be aggressive. So maybe your wheels aren't that bad and you wanna try to speed up the tire and wheel cleaning process. If you can do it touchless, I mean, why not? These were all brown right here, and that actually, it did a nice job. I wouldn't say it's mint, it looks good though. Okay, do you guys see that? I mean, zoom in here, Chelsea. Look at that. I didn't even touch that. Okay, they ain't kidding. So that got like 85, 90% of the dirt. I can still see a few areas where we just need to dial it in with our brushes. Our inner wheelbarrows though, honestly, like this would pass for just maintenance. But if you're detailing, you wanna just fine tune it, let's get our brushes out. There's barely any brown coming off of these tires now. I'm kind of disappointed. Sometimes I like seeing all the brown. Does this take all the hard work away? Seriously, I was anticipating seeing a lot more dirt coming off of these wheels. There's some, but not as much as there should have been. I guarantee you, this customer, she's not cleaning these wheels. She's going through the automatic. She's a little bit older side, has a bad back. That's why she comes to me, because she doesn't have the time or the energy to kind of keep up with this. So if the automatic car wash ain't doing it, it's not getting done. I know we review a lot of products on this channel, and it's hard to kind of gauge what's the best, but that is impressing me right there. Obviously, I didn't use another product on the same tire and wheel to know how it's going to perform, but I can tell you that a lot of products out there, they're not going to work this quickly. So that is a really, really good combination tire and wheel cleaner. I mean, look at our foam. It's almost cream, and that was the first time really agitating it. Just chemically alone, we decrease the amount of bloom on the tire.
We didn't pre-rinse our tires and wheels, but I did actually scrub the tires on the next just to see how bad they were, and it was like a mocha latte. So while I did scrub the tire, I didn't scrub the wheels, and holy cow.
All right, I know that this is sponsored content by Thor, but they don't pay me to tell you guys what I think about a product. I don't know any wheel and tire combination cleaner that can do what that just did. Dedicated wheel cleaners? Sure. Acid-based ones? Definitely. Tire cleaners? Dedicated ones? Sure. Combination? I think honestly this is the best combination wheel and tire cleaner that I have ever used. I'm not saying ever. I'm not saying no one will ever surpass it, and I haven't used every product on the market. But from what I have used, this is the best combination wheel and tire cleaner that I've tested. I said it. Put it in short format, send it out into the universe. Don't believe me? Try it for yourself. FYI, you want to see how good the tires look when they're dry? This is an undressed tire after just 2 rounds. That is nice and clean.
Next up, our foaming pre-soak.
So since we have a good bit of dirt on here and we want to go after that tar with our chemical versus having to scrub it off, we're going to go a little bit heavier with our dilution, 1 to 20. We have about 24 ounces of water in here, or 700 milliliters. And so if we're doing a 1 to 20 dilution ratio, really nice value. We only need a little over an ounce with this product. Next up, we will foam on our S pre-wash. This is their strong acid pre-wash shampoo. We're gonna use this similar to how we would do our Chemex Stars and Stripes. We're gonna foam one over top of the other. I don't know if that's how you do it. We're gonna try it out today to see if this gives us maybe a little bit more of a potent combination. But for our pre-wash, since we don't have a ton of mineral deposits on this, we do have some mild ones, we're gonna go lighter with our dilution for this. So we're gonna do the 1 to 10 dilution ratio, which is gonna be about 2 ounces.
So first we're going to foam on the L pre-wash, and then we are going to foam on the S pre-wash. I'm not sure if I need to foam, rinse, and I know that there are some benefits in combining an alkaline and then an acid together. So we're going to experiment. I'm not sure if this is right, but we're going to try it out.
That is a ridiculous amount of foam. So now we're going to do our acid wash. This is probably not going to be as thick because we are doing the lighter dilution. But let's see what happens when you foam them on top of one another like Chemex.
So other than the fact to go after mineral deposits on the paint, you can also use this acid pre-wash to declog your protection.
You can see we have foam that's just kind of sitting on our hood. It's not really moving. It's just kind of boop. Here on our panels, this actually, you can see it's running off, but not very fast. It's going to give you dwell time. Now we are working in direct sunlight, so we're not gonna let it sit on here and dry on there. We're gonna let it sit a few more seconds before we come in and rinse, because I have a feeling if I were to wait for the soap to run off, we'd be here a while. And we might do some staining with the paint. So we're gonna be safe. The biggest issue I wanna see is this tar down here, softened and loosened. Heavier grime, I wanna see if we can loosen that and remove it chemically versus having to use a dedicated tar remover or our clay towel to budget.
We let this sit on there for probably another 2 minutes, and the soap impressively just stuck to the panels. We did have some runoff, but as much runoff as we had more just clinging to the paint. And let's see if our L pre-wash and S pre-wash were able to tackle all of this heavy grime and tar.
So we got all the road boogers, like dried worms and crap, but we still have a lot of tar. So we're gonna use Mild Deep Tar Remover for that, because it's one of my favorites and it's pretty heavy. That should melt all that right off.
While it did loosen the road boogers, it didn't do much to remove the heavy staining on the paint, but I could see a brightening effect going on where we were going after film.
See all the rain splatter? So I'm wondering if we'd use them separately, if we would be seeing different results, but that's a lesson for us to evaluate on the next vehicle. But I'm not seeing a huge impact where we're touch-free cleaning by combining the two. So I would just say, to get more potency, foam one on, rinse off. Maybe you'll see a little bit more cleaning capabilities, but we are reducing the dirt. It's not removing it touch-free. So if you want something like that, that's where maybe the Chemex products might be a touch more potent, but it is reducing the dirt, so our wash will be safer.
It looked like the customer had tried to remove maybe some morning dew with a towel, but had dirt underneath, and so that kind of stained the paint. We were able to remove it with our contact wash, but one thing I wanted to observe is with the amount of soap that we had put down, how quickly does it rinse away? And this actually rinsed away very easily. Now let's get ready for our wash and decontamination. And for that, we're trying some of the new V2 towels from the House of Rags.
This guy. Whoa. Thing is huge. Eddie, how big are your hands? So with my itty bitty hands, I don't know, okay. I like the color of this guy better. I mean, look how cool he looks. It's like Miami Vice vibes. But this guy, personally, I think we're gonna go with our Wash Boss Jr.
We're also going to be using the Clean by Pan clay towel to decontaminate our paint.
Okay, I get it, Christy. It does smell a little bit like medicine. If you like mint, you're gonna like it. I'm not a huge fan of mint. If it was wintergreen, maybe. But hopefully it'll clean.
So it's not a super thick foam. You can see it's kind of thin. And when we activated it, I noticed it mixed really nicely with the water. But normally some soaps you're going to see kind of a separation and a thick top of foam. With this soap, I didn't notice a ridiculous amount of thick foam. We did have a lot of suds, but it just didn't feel super slick in my hand. But let's go ahead and see what it feels like on the paint.
Alright, I like the Junior. Oh wow, I do like the Junior. That is nice on the paint, feels nice in my hand. I want to see if this soap gives us any sort of water spot protection if we're washing out in direct sunlight. We're gonna do the whole vehicle at once, let the soap kind of dry on there, and see if that helps give us some cushion from the sun. Alright, so we're out of soap. Looks like we're out of suds. Some soaps, they keep going. This one, you can see our foam in our bucket is not going down. Nice, thick foam.
I wouldn't say it's the slickest of soaps that I've used, but it did a nice job at cleaning the paint.
Alright, so our soap is starting to dry on there. Just want to make sure that we don't stain or have water spots. So we're gonna do the rest of this in time lapse so that we can get this done.
So I know I didn't like the soap like fresh out of the bottle, but surprisingly, it did lend itself to have a really nice wash experience. And in fact, like I feel more rejuvenated. Maybe it's a placebo effect. Mint sometimes can just kind of give you an alertness or a wakefulness. I don't know, I feel revived. I had a rough night's sleep last night, I was getting a little tired. I don't feel that right now. So I don't know if it worked, but it works. Clean, it didn't dry in the sun, we didn't stay in the paint. In fact, it did give us a little bit of cushion from water spotting. Now we're gonna go ahead, remove our tar, and then do our iron remover to decontaminate the paint and get all this rail dust off the paint.
Before we do our decontamination though, we want to try to remove some of the tar so that way we don't scratch the paint. So we're going to use Mild Deep Resolve to go after any tar deposits on the paint.
I don't know what the heck this is. It looks like something splattered and stained the paint. So I don't know if that's gonna come off. It looks like maybe a little crunchy. It's a little crusty. Maybe it'll come off with our, no, it's coming off. Oh, cool. Honestly, didn't think that was gonna come off. So we're gonna keep you right here. And I don't know if we can zoom in. See right here on our paint, we have a lot of rail dust. And it's all over the vehicle, but it's heavier in certain areas. But we're gonna try Vampire Direct. I believe this is their ready-to-use product. Okay, so there's a foam tip on this one. I don't like that. It's a weird smell. It's weird. It's throwing my nose for a little curve. We still have that sulfur like perm smell, but it smells like perfume. Like there's a little bit of perfume mixed in it, and I don't hate it, but it's confusing my nose. I don't know how else to describe it. You can still smell that perm smell, but it's definitely not that rotten egg, and the more it sits, the more it just kind of smells like perfume. So because we had the foam, you're not gonna see a lot of the reactions, but you can actually see right here where we have our heavier deposits, where it's kind of bleeding down through. So we've got our clay towel. We're gonna try these combined. Let's see, Pan's clay towel can get rid of heavier rail dust. We might need a dedicated clay bar for those. Sometimes you just gotta suck it up and pull out the clay bar. Only got to get rid of the rail dust that's on this before it pits any further and turns more into rust. We're gonna do the side that's in the shade first, and we're just gonna spray this down. We have a good bit of rail dust, and it is actually like heavier on the lower parts of the panel. You don't want to spray this on a dry panel, and you don't want to let this dry on the paint. That's why we're kind of just doing one half at a time. We can already see some reactions. It's unique. I've not smelled any other iron remover that smells like this. It is cleaning very nicely, thicker product. It's not running off, but it is slowly running down, but it's spread nice and evenly all over the panel. I wouldn't say it's the fastest reactant, because we do have quite a bit on this paint, but it is reacting. So we're just gonna let it sit, do its thing, and then we'll come in and do our clay towel treatment now. But this is just a good product to use every 6 months or so, because even if you don't see this on a vehicle, it's still there. This is just a good product to use every 6 months as a preventative maintenance on your vehicle. You can do it in combination with a clay towel if you want. If your paint feels gritty, if you see evidence of the orange dots or spots on your paint, that's rail dust, do a clay towel treatment. You can use this product with the clay towel to give it more capability of removing the rail dust, because what this product is doing, it's breaking the chemical bond that the rail dust has with your paint. So that way, if we come in with our clay towel, which is an abrasive, it'll kind of pop that top off and be able to remove it. Now, it is an abrasive,
And some people don't like doing a clay towel without polishing. We are polishing today, so if we go a little bit heavier and we mar it, I'm not too concerned. But when you use the polysynthetic clay towels with soap, with an iron remover, a product like this that is thicker, has more lubrication to it, more viscosity, it's gonna help reduce the risk of marring. A lot of it comes down to your technique though, but nice purple reactions. It's not running off very quickly. It's giving us a nice dwell time. Because we had more severe rail dust on this paint, I ended up using the DIY detail clay towel because I found that it went after the iron deposits a little bit more aggressively. Pans I think would be great for maintenance where you just need to do a quick light decontamination and be more conservative on the paint. And Ivan's towel isn't necessarily super aggressive. There are more medium and even heavy grade clay towels, but I find that on a daily driver that has a good bit of contamination, this does a great job at being gentle on the paint, but going after those rail deposits to make the paint silky smooth afterwards.
You did it, Jamie. You made the perfect drying towel. That is the perfect size. It's super absorbent. I don't like really big towels, but I want something that's gonna absorb. So far, that is the perfect towel. And you get 2 in a bag. Okay. I like this better than the other one. Still using the same first towel. Baby goat over here just pulling all the way. The other guy's just free ride. Here in case I need emotional support. Glass is streak free. Paint looks great. It's really sticky. So that, we are squeaky clean. Squeaky.
So we are back day 2 working on our Lexus. I had a ton of stuff yesterday that we kind of had to shorten the detail, but today we're going to focus on polishing the paint, getting our headlights restored, and then just finishing up on the interior. But I was actually really impressed with several of the Luminus products. Just to recap kind of what we've done so far, we did a tire and wheel cleaning with their Blaze Direct. Quite possibly the best wheel and tire combination cleaner that I've ever worked with. I mean, when they say strong cleaner for wheel and tire, they're not kidding. We were able to practically touchless clean our wheels. Browning was melting off of the tires. Honestly, I did go a little heavy because the more product you use on the surface, you obviously are gonna get more cleaning capabilities. They have kind of these cool little foaming tips that you can take them on or take them off based on kind of what you're looking for. But when you just kind of have it at its spray setting, nice even distribution. You don't have to use as much, but if you like foam for tires to kind of stick and cling or for wheels, that's cool. They have that option. But they cleaned really, really well. I didn't have to scrub aggressively. I hate cleaning tires and wheels. This made it extremely pleasant and quick. I actually was like enjoying cleaning wheels because this works so well. So for those of you that maybe you hate cleaning tires and wheels, maybe you're using the wrong product. Maybe I'm using the wrong product. So this is definitely one that I will continue to purchase because it works so well. Time is money. I want something that's going to work quickly. The only test is going to be, can we use this on aftermarket matte wheels, black wheels, things like that where we don't have staining. Oftentimes, the stronger the cleaner, the higher the risk of chemical staining. So we will be continuing to test this product out on different wheel surfaces, but older wheels, clear coat was in good condition, no issues whatsoever. They cleaned up beautifully. These wheels, I think the customer's gonna be really impressed. Next up, we tried their Vampire Plus Direct. Now, this is their ready-to-use formula. I believe they do have a concentrate as well. But this surprised me with the smell. A little bit of that perm smell, but on the back end, it smelled like perfume, which I've never smelled a product that worked like this. Beyond the smell being pleasant, it worked really well. Thicker, clung to the surface, didn't run off, had really nice lubrication, really nice propyl reactions. It did take a moment for them to kick in, but it didn't dry out quickly on us. So you have that time to let the chemical actually work. There are some that are so thin that they run right off and they dry within seconds that you're kind of having to work either panel by panel or rush. I didn't have to rush with this. I could do the entire side, even if it does start to dry off, just kind of mist it with water, reactivates it. Was really nice with the clay towel. Actually really liked this product. Typically, I like to use the Detail Co. Age of Iron Remover because that smell is way more pleasant. But this, I think, has more viscosity, a little bit more purple reaction, clung nicer. So I don't know, it'd be a hard tie. For me, I'm very scent driven. This, I think, is kind of rising to the top. So it's kind of surprising because I've been in love with the Age of Iron Remover. Next up, we used their Mint Car Shampoo. Straight out of the bottle, not a big fan of the scent. But surprisingly, while working with it, it was refreshing. I had a long day yesterday. I was kind of getting tired. I felt invigorated after washing it. Maybe it's a placebo effect. Maybe it was a trick. But Mint, it just was a very pleasant working experience. We washed in direct sunlight. The soap did dry on there. No staining. No issues whatsoever. I wouldn't say it is the thickest or the most lubricating soap out there, but it did a really nice job cleaning the paint, and it was just a really pleasant work experience. So whether you like mint or not, that's kind of a preference, but I did enjoy it in the long run, and it did what it needed to do. It cleaned it. The only products that I kind of was not necessarily wowed with, to be very honest, was the S pre-wash and the L pre-wash. Now, I'm not sure if I was using it correctly though. It's quite possible you want to foam on the alkaline first, let that dwell, rinse it off, then foam on the acid wash, let that foam dwell, rinse it off. I combined the two, similar to how you would use kind of Chemex, their pre-washes, but I didn't find that it did a whole lot to budge the film or some of the staining. Now, some of the staining was severe. You could tell it had been there for months. Like, we're talking since it snowed, probably hasn't had a good contact wash, because some of that actually looked like brush marks or like the dirt that you get from maybe there'd be dew on the vehicle. Someone just took a towel to it and pushed all that dirt, and then that dirt kind of dried as a water stain. So obviously we had a lot of stubborn dirt on the paint, and this didn't necessarily budge it, but it did soften and loosen the heavier stuff to make the contact wash safer. I was going a little bit heavier with our alkaline, and I did go a little lighter with our acid, just because I didn't want to necessarily have to do 4 ounces in a foam cannon. So for me, we're going to play around with the dilutions. We're going to play around a little bit more with the order of the process. I don't know if we're supposed to combine or keep them separate. Jamie and Eddie, if you're watching, leave some input down below, so that way we can kind of learn from my experience. But all in all, the exterior cleaned up beautifully. Luminus did a fantastic job. Next up, we're going to go ahead and get our headlights restored. We're going to polish the paint. We're going to do as much as we can to restore this paint in one step. Then we're going to be applying our Black Diamond Advanced Formula. Now, this claims up to 6 months of protection, which is good because the customer isn't looking for anything super long term. They do hope to bring this to me like twice a year. So if we have something that lasts close to that 6-month range, from bookend to bookend, they should be protected. So we'll be testing this out to see what kind of application we get, what kind of gloss we get, slickness. So for those of you that are looking for a durable sealant that's going to be close to 6 months of protection, we're going to test this out for you guys in a little bit. Now, the last thing that I do on every detail is clean the glass. And for me, sometimes that can be the most struggling part. So we're going to test out their Glass Wash Shine to see if this can be a really high quality glass cleaner. I'm getting to the point in my life, I've tested so many glass cleaners, from spray away, invisible glass,
So at this point, I'm spending sometimes over $10 a bottle for a glass cleaner, and it feels sometimes ridiculous to spend that much money on a glass cleaner, I know. But if it can make my life easier, provide me with streak-free results, I will test it out. I'm just at that point. I know some have actually said just do distilled water and a clean microfiber. It can't be that easy, folks. Maybe we'll test that out in the future. It just feels too simple. It feels too simple. But for those of you that maybe you struggle like me with cleaning glass, is Luminus the answer? I don't know. Let's see.
So we're going to put all the links to these products for those that want to try them out for yourself. Oberk Sole, as well as the Rupezi yellow foam pads.
So we are all done with polishing the Lexus, and yes, I did switch glasses. These are actually the Meta AI glasses, but we are all done. And even though we are not applying a ceramic coating, some people might think that you only need to use panel prep sprays when you are putting a ceramic coating on. But you can actually use this after polishing just to remove oils, even when you're applying a sealant. So we are going to be applying the Black Diamond, their 6-month sealant. And then after doing our rinseless wash to wipe off all the residue, we're still going to use their residue oil remover, just so that way we have a squeaky clean surface. This is just going to allow our protection to bond a little better, make sure we have nothing left behind, maybe from our polish or even from our rinseless wash. So we are so close to being done. We're gonna wipe off all of this residue with Nemesis and then do our panel prep spray, and then we can get to applying our protection. You could smell the high amount of alcohol within this product, but it had very nice lubrication. So that way we weren't marring or scratching the surface that we just spent so much time polishing. You just want to give it a second to kind of set up before you come in with your dry towel. But what's left behind is a squeaky clean surface. It's smooth because we've polished it, so it's not tacky or sticky, but you're definitely gonna hear and feel a difference after using this product. So their instructions are a little difficult to read, but it says, firstly wash the vehicle with shampoo, sprayed onto whole vehicle, including paintwork, glass, and alloys, and polish with a microfiber cloth. Do not use on hot surfaces. Do not let dry before polishing. Durability, maximum 6 months. So we are clean. We are dry. We are cool. And we're going to work section by section. We have our Freebird towel here. We're going to just do a quick prime of that. We're going to do 2 sprays on this big section. That is a nice smell. A little fruity. Can immediately feel slickness. We're going to flip to our dry side. It looks like it does haze up a little bit. And to the naked eye on this white paint, which I know is really hard to see if we're going to have streaking, but I don't see any streaking. That was easy. We are going to work kind of smaller sections, but I don't mind working in products like that. Sometimes the ones where you got to let it sit 15-20 minutes, I don't have the attention span to let that do, but just for efficacy, we are going to do kind of crosshatch and then flip to your dry side. And that is really nice and slick. Oh yeah. Guarantee you the customer is going to be doing this when she comes to pick up the vehicle. When it comes to choosing the right microfiber for applying a product like this, personally, I always prefer Korean towels. They're just really forgiving on the paint, but you could also use a towel like the Mr. Twister. It's not going to absorb as much of the product and still be very gentle on the paint, but either one is going to work in this scenario.
So it does look like it has like a white appearance to it. I don't know if that's the sprayer. I don't know if it's kind of making the product foam or if the product itself is white. In fact, I might put it on glass. I just want to, yeah, it does look like it is a white product. In fact, let's just apply this to our glass. That might be the best way for me to demonstrate for you guys what this looks like after it sets up. They actually said, do not let it dry on the paint, and I'm remembering that now. So you might not want to work that far. It's like 10 minutes, we're all done. Paint is really nice and smooth and slick. I wouldn't say it's the slickest right now, but it is very nice and smooth. I just kind of want to see what kind of protection. Nice big beads that just run right down the paint. That's what you want. You don't want it to stick. You don't want it to sit. I'm not even blowing on it. That's just dear old gravity. Very nice.
Last but not least, we're testing out Luminus's glass wash.
Most glass cleaners have like a really strong IPA scent. This actually has like a little bit of a perfume scent. But I like it. It's unique. So the customer's gonna be here in a few minutes, so we've got to hustle. But I wanted to just say, this is actually a really great glass cleaner, but I think what sets this apart is actually it has a really nice scent. Some have a really strong alcohol scent, some have, I don't know how else to describe it, almost like a sterile scent to it. This is actually like a fruity scent. It smells better than some quick interior detailers that I've worked with. So I like good smelling products, and if it works, that's a combo. So, I mean, there you go, glass cleaner. It works, and it smells really good.
So we are all done testing out our Luminus products on this Lexus. We're going to go ahead, pull it out, get it ready for the customer to pick up. But here are the finished results on our 2003 Lexus convertible with our Luminus products. The biggest issue that we had on this vehicle was the amount of dirt and rail dust and tar on the paint. We also had a ton of caked on, baked on grime on our tires and wheels. Our Luminus products did a fantastic job at deep cleaning this vehicle, and we were also able to remove some oxidation from our headlights, as well as bring back some clarity and gloss to this paint. And then, of course, add some protection to increase that gloss and shine and help make maintenance easier for the customer.
So the customer was extremely happy with the way the vehicle turned out, and I was extremely happy with how the products performed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this closer look at some of the products from Luminus. I think honestly, they are a notch above some of the other products that I've tested out recently. I know there's so many great products at the House of Rags. It's really hard to kind of narrow them down. So hopefully me sharing with you guys my experience gives you some input and direction. But honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with a single thing there. But Luminus, I don't know, they just hit a little differently. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a great one.